Philadelphia Eagles are your 2025 Super Bowl champions. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. My name is Zach. With me is Andrew, and we're back to talk all things Philly Sports Now. The Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Reined it in a little bit for the intro before the intro. We're here. It is surreal. It doesn't feel real. The last 48 hours has been insane. A lot of traveling going on Andrew's part. We've got just me. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. The Eagles winning the Super Bowl 40-22. What an absurd score. And in reality, I mean, it was 40-6. Let's be honest. Those the touchdowns that the Chiefs got in the last 3 minutes of the game were absolutely garbage scoring touchdowns. And in this game, it just wasn't real. It was insane how the entire game the Eagles just absolutely owned. The defense just completely owned Patrick Mahomes in a way that I just feel like has never been seen before. I mean, on the stage of the Super Bowl, it certainly hasn't. They quickly said that this was the biggest deficit that has ever happened in Super Bowl history, which is insane to think about. Patrick Mahomes, the up-and-coming GOAT, everyone kept saying, was probably going to solidify his spot over Brady if he got the first three-peat in Super Bowl history. All these things just kind of crash and burn because the Eagles came out of nowhere and just stomped them into the ground. I mean, what a game. And of course, being an Eagles fan, there was no point where I felt comfortable in this game. And it's funny looking at the scoring right now and noticing that the Chiefs didn't get that second touchdown until 3 minutes left in the game, because I remember sweating when that happened. I'm like, oh god, don't let them start racking up points. And I don't know if it was I didn't really comprehend how much time, or I should say how little time was on the clock, but just seeing them score, I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it, and I liked the comfort of that 30-point lead. And I just, it was so funny how the Philly fan in me just, I needed to wait. I needed to wait until the bell tolled. I was pretty sure when I saw the Gatorade bath happen at 3 minutes. I mean, that was so funny that those guys did the Gatorade bath early. You've got the backups going in the Super Bowl. I still can't get over that. So much to go into. Just raw emotions today, folks. We are going to give you again our afterthoughts of this game. The Eagles winning their second Super Bowl in franchise history. Next week, we will have two episodes. We're planning on doing a parade recap episode as well as a more in-depth, detailed analysis of the Super Bowl after having sat with it for a week. But for now, thoughts, emotions, it's all high. We're getting into it, and I just can't stop saying it. There was a point on Monday, because Valerie and I were both home, and I just kept going up to her like every 30 or 60 minutes, and I would just be like, hey, did you know the Eagles are Super Bowl champions? And I just kept doing it over and over and over. I couldn't stop. I was giddy. I'm still giddy. Andrew, at what point did it just, were you just totally set in stone that, oh yeah, the Eagles were Super Bowl champions?
I think it was the Devontae Smith touchdown early in the second half. After you get I said it when it was 24-0 at halftime. Chiefs got the ball first, so it was going to come down to, can you get that stop or do they have life with the touchdown? And the Eagles stopped them, and then they go deep to Devontae Smith after the turnover on downs. And once you get that touchdown, you knew the Chiefs weren't going to be able to get down the field much. The defensive line was too strong in this game. They were running the table, forcing Mahomes in a lot of different chaotic situations, and it caused him to be, like you said, one of the worst games of his career. So for me, it was the Devontae Smith touchdown, and from that point on, you knew it was pretty much over.
Since we're talking about the Devontae Smith bomb, I will kind of get into then. I think the passing game is just a great place to start because the running game, I mean, a combination of the two is how we'll start this off, I guess. But if you got to give the Chiefs credit for doing anything, it was stopping the running game, right? Like, I mean, Barkley well under 100 yards rushing. I'll have the stat here in a second, but it was, what did he have? 57 rushing yards. Like, insane to me how low he was. I'm thankful he just broke that record for all-time rushing record, including the postseason. That's a great reward for him to have now, right? Uh, he didn't need much to get that though, and clearly the Chiefs were ready for the rushing game. Sorry, I'm like stumbling into this part of the conversation because I looked at the stat and it threw me off. But like it was insane because every time Barkley got the ball, he still got like 3 yards, right? Like he essentially was a regular running back in the Super Bowl. It was just like it just wasn't Saquon Barkley level running game, and the Chiefs forced Jalen Hurts to play. And wouldn't you know it, Jalen Hurts balled out. And I mean, the Jalen Hurts game, I don't even like. I don't know, Andrew. We've been the past few weeks especially extremely loud about how good Jalen Hurts is. I mean, I'll even say he shut us up because he comes out here and he wins the MVP with how good he is. Like we both thought Barkley was going to be MVP. No disrespect to Hurts, it was just respect to Barkley. But then Hurts comes out, man, and he just does crazy. He had 221 passing yards. He had 72 rushing yards. He had two passing touchdowns. He had uh he had a rushing touchdown too, right? I'm like, yeah, there it
Yep.
is. Like dude, Hurts had such a good game, and I was so excited to see that because I even talked about it. I think I cut a little bit out of the podcast, but I kind of felt like no, I mean, we discussed Hurts wasn't getting enough credit going to the Super Bowl for this season in general. He wasn't getting the respect he deserved for sure, especially in national media. But it was one of those things where I felt a degree of not guilt, but emotion that Hurts wasn't going to win MVP. It was like, well, Barkley's going to have a game. He's going to be the MVP. He should have been the MVP of the NFL for the whole season. And it's going to be insane to see Hurts not get that reward. And I hope he handles it well. But then, man, Barkley is shut down. It's the one thing the Chiefs did well, and Hurts goes out there and he has one of the games of his life. It's amazing that Barkley has the worst game of the season, and Jalen Hurts just steps up and he takes control. He does what a great quarterback does. In my mind, Jalen Hurts solidified he can be a quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles for the rest of his career.
Oh, no question about it. And that's what I've been trying to say is like he's not going to go put up the 300 yard game. He's going to go out there and make the right throws. And that's all he did in this game as well. I mean, he finishes the game with 221 yards. No one's going to look at that and see how good of a game because people look at the yardage total. And it was just what we talked about. I said, I think we somewhat joked about it. We're being serious, but we said, like, you don't want the most passing yards in this game. That's going to go to the quarterback that's going garbage time at the end. And that's exactly what Mahomes did. Mahomes ended up finishing with more yards than Hurts because of the garbage time touchdowns.
Right.
But my point, like, Hurts, and that's how credit to how good Kellen Moore did, credit to how good this offense is the Chiefs focused on Barkley. They bought into the basically the fake narrative that Hurts can't beat you with his arm,
Yep.
and that's what they did. Is they put everyone in the box, they shut down Barkley, and they forgot about everything else the Eagles offense has. And we say they shut down Barkley, but 57 yards is still is not bad. And then second of all, they let Hurts go for 72 yards. So they didn't even shut down the run game in total. They just limited Barkley. Hurts ran, used his legs, and he was. I mean, you saw him break away for multiple yards multiple times, and that's what he was able to do in this game. And then you look at it. I mean, look what Barkley does in this game. They open up Dotson too. Two big catches for 42 yards, including the there was a 25-yarder home. They set up the tush push and Jalen Hurts' rushing touchdown. So, I mean, credit to that as well. I mean, a guy that hasn't done much all year steps up big and is your third highest receiver in this game. And for the most part, honestly, he was first until the deep ball to Devontae Smith there. So, I mean, yeah, just the whole offense stepped up. The offensive line was fantastic, and they let Hurts get as much time as he needed. And again, obviously, he makes that one tough throw against the blitz, but outside of that, he was basically perfect in this game, and he did what they had to do.
Dotson getting the ball, I mean, that was just an example of how everyone in the team stepped up during the Super Bowl when they were needed most, right? Like, I mean, Dotson had the game of his career this season, or the game of his season, I should say, at least. And, AJ Brown, he did a great job. We have, like you said, even Kenny Gainwell. Like, everyone was involved in this game in a way that was just so exciting to watch. I mean, it was so good, and it's funny how it's funny how good the offense was, but it was so good, and yet we have to talk as deep. The deep. I don't. There were so many people thinking defense player Josh Sweat was gonna get MVP. It sounded like it was a very real possibility after him getting, what was it, 2.5 sacks. I think the defense in this game absolutely shut down the entire Super Bowl, because you had the second half starting and the Eagles had 24 points and 24, 34. No,
24.
24. The Eagles had 24 points and Kansas City Chiefs didn't even have 24 yards at that point.
Yeah, I mean the defense stepped up, and there would have been no issue if Josh Sweat got MVP in this game. He played the game of his life. How about he takes a bet on himself, signs a 1-year deal, restructured contract. He's about to go get paid this offseason. Hopefully, it's back with the Eagles. But I mean, until Hurts had that bomb to Devontae Smith and had that yardage to put him over 200, gave him that second touchdown, I think Josh Sweat would have been MVP. He was having that good of a game. He won't get credit for it, obviously, because it ended up not being a sack. But on Mahomes' second interception that Zach Bond had, that was due to Josh Sweat. Josh Sweat pushes the offensive lineman back into Mahomes, and Mahomes gets hit by his own offensive lineman because of Sweat pushing into him. So, again, that's another play Josh Sweat does fantastic, causes that interception, but that doesn't go down the stat sheet at all for Josh Sweat. That's where it's tough to be a little bit of a defensive lineman there, because you don't get credit for everything like some of the other guys do. And so right there, that's another one. So yeah, as you mentioned, he had the multiple sacks in this game, and he even had that one that doesn't get credited there, but it's not short of us seeing it. And obviously that sets up 7 more points right before halftime to get you 24, because you think you took over on like the 18-yard line, and then it was that slant play to Brown, the second play of the drive for the touchdown. So there's 7 more points that the defense created right there, and then obviously the pick 6. So the defense, you can
Dude, the
almost
pick
credit for
six.
14 points automatically.
Oh my God, that pick 6 from Cooper DeJean on his birthday. I think it's the first person to ever get a touchdown in the Super Bowl on
Yeah.
their birthday. Like that was so wild. And the Zach Bond interception too was so clean. The diving catch he made,
Yep.
it was unbelievable. And I mean, the Zach Bond interception too. That was when Mahomes was in the end zone. I thought that he was going to get sacked for a safety.
Yeah, and then yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And he happened to get rid of it, or I guess he got hit, and it causes the interception there. And then another one that had a fantastic game was Milton Williams. He went out and played a game. He had a fantastic day. He had that strip sack on Mahomes before Jalen Carter finished off the big hit on Mahomes there. But Milton Williams went out there and had a great game too. Just the whole defensive line showed out in this game, and I mean, if you really could give the MVP award to an entire group, it's the defensive line. I mean, it just caused a headache for that Chiefs offensive line all day long, and I mean, it really set the tone. And what was huge too for me from the defense setting the tone was after the Eagles got robbed, Hurts drops that perfect ball to Brown, and they call the offensive pass interference. The defense went out and had a 3-and-out. They didn't even give the Chiefs
I
a
mean,
chance to have momentum,
there
because
wasn't
right
enough
there it's
time to
like,
go get
oh
a beer.
yeah,
Like it was such a quick, like the defense was like, nah, don't worry, we'll get the ball back right now. Like it was so quick, that 3-and-out, that I just couldn't believe you couldn't even be upset about the flag because they took care of business so quickly.
exactly. And it's just the same thing. And then after the Hurts interception, yeah, the Chiefs were pinned on, I think it was the 5-yard line after the interception. But what the Eagles defense do? They shut them out, didn't let the Chiefs get any momentum after the interception, and went down and got points themselves. So like, and the Eagles, the 2 turnovers they created, they had 14 points off of them. So like, that's a huge difference right there. So like, I mean, huge credit to Vic Fangio too. I mean, just what he came in and did with this team, and I'm excited. I mean, he's going to be back next year, so we'll see what he's able to continue to have these guys develop into a whole nother level. But I mean, the defense, top to bottom, just big time. I mean, really the whole team. Like, that's what's fun about it. Like, there's not one area you can pick that didn't outplay him. And we kind of talked about it too coming into the game. Was outside of coaching and quarterback. I mean, this team with the Eagles team is better in all areas, and it was proven on a high level in this game.
It was unbelievable, dude. I mean, it was so there was just no question, really. There was no question the Eagles were the better team throughout the entire game. And I actually saw a lot of comments from fans or sorry, non-fans of either team being how like it was just kind of it was almost a boring Super Bowl to watch because of how dominant the Eagles were, but it was exciting in the sense that you were seeing a team utterly destroy the Chiefs in a way that just has not been seen, especially this year. I mean, you go back to the Chiefs beating the Bills, and sure, there were definitely plays that the refs helped the Chiefs a lot. And I'm not going to say the Bills would have won the game, but it would have been a more even game for sure. And it's just funny how every time a team played the Chiefs and lost, the Chiefs made themselves look so good. So going into this game, you're thinking, as I hear online all the time, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and it's just going to be one of the toughest games of the year for the Eagles. However, apparently, going into Radio Row, the Eagles had just no concern. Maybe it was him, maybe it was someone else, I don't remember. But apparently, the Eagles players were just certain this was going to be the blowout it was.
Yeah, no, I mean that shows how good this team is it's more than just their level of play on the field. It's the focus they had.
Yeah.
It's the drive they had. It's the revenge they wanted. And to your point is they believe that they were the better team. They didn't let the three-peat get in their heads. I think it was I forget which player also said it, but I mean, he just mentioned it like, yeah, we never talked about the three-peat. We talked about how we were a better team. We were going to go in and do our thing and come out with the win. And I mean, I think we talked about Zach yesterday on the phone. Was I mean, you saw it throughout the game. Was the Eagles made a fantastic play? Yeah, you saw maybe a quick sell, but it was right back to the next play. It
Oh,
wasn't let's
huge.
show off for 5 minutes. It was no back to the next play, go get the job done. And even when this team was up by 24 points, like even the Devontae Smith touchdown, I think that one put you in front 31-0 or something like that. And I mean, it wasn't like, oh, I mean, at that point, you really could have just started celebrating.
Yeah.
But no, it was right back to the next play, and it just
Well, I
kept
think
going from there.
to
And they
your to
never
the
lost focus. They
that's
never
that's
lost.
what the Eagles won the mental game before the game even started. And that
Yeah,
was huge because I mean, if there's one thing everyone says about Jalen Hurts, it's that he doesn't seem to let anything, he's got the stone face. He doesn't seem to let anything get to him. He doesn't crack a smile, he doesn't do anything until he gets a Lombardi in his hand. But like he it just truly felt like that message was given to the entire team. The entire team was playing in a way that was just unprecedented in the way that they were focused was the main thing that I kept saying. And it was just pure determination and it was amazing. And when you look at the Chiefs players in that game, I mean, Kelsey is the obvious one. He looked like he was about to break down and just have like an emotional like rage tantrum or something. Which apparently there's actually a video. I don't remember it happening in the game. There was a moment in the game where Kelsey like missed a block and he goes to push Jordan Davis afterwards, and it's the funniest thing because Jordan Davis just doesn't move at all, and Kelsey just but I mean, Davis was it's just I'm way big. He just did not move. But it was just really funny. Like you could see emotion was high on the Chiefs side of things, and to exemplify that even more, there was I don't remember what player it was, but there was a drive where they actually stopped the Eagles and we had to punt, and I remember seeing the Chiefs players celebrating. And this was at the point where the Eagles were up like 27-0. It was like in the third quarter or something around it was around that time. Maybe it was late second quarter, but it was one of those things where it's very much like how dad always says, but you hate to see a player, and someone at the Super Bowl party was that actually said this. It's like when you see a player celebrate a moment like that, when you're on the biggest stage of the entire world right now, and you're losing it to such a huge degree, and you're celebrating a tackle. It's like I get it. This is like your thing, but also I just I can't respect that game right there. And to to the Eagles like credit, they never wavered in that degree, and they were winning the entire game.
Yeah, they waited to the end. They waited to the end to do their celebration, and you saw it after. And I think that was a big difference. And you just saw it in the Chiefs' faces, the confusion they had, the look on their faces, like I don't know what's going on, I don't know what's going wrong, and like, it was incredible to see. Like I don't, you haven't seen the Chiefs like that. I know maybe that Tampa Bay game against Brady, that I know they were a little off in that game. Tampa Bay was able to hold them a little bit. Not what we're used to seeing. So I think that would have been the last time you saw him even close to what we saw on Sunday. But I mean, again, it was wild. You don't see Andy Reid teams get blown out like that at all. So again, it's credit to his coaching staff, top to bottom. Went out, got the job done. That I mean, from Nick Sirianni to Kellen Moore to Vic Fangio, and I mean, we gotta give a shout out too to the guy that struggled all year and's got a lot of heat too. He might have saved himself a job for next year. But I mean, Jake Elliott, he came out and did his thing. He looked like old Jake Elliott.
Yeah,
I mean, he was perfect.
Great.
And the amount of times, I mean, I think he had 3 field goals maybe get called back, and he got called back and he had a re-kick because of flags. I mean, we had the 2 false starts there, and he had a re-kick it, and it still didn't phase him. The only one that was kind of questionable was that first one. I thought might hook right a little bit.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But that sneaks in, and after that, I mean, he had all of his confidence back, and I mean, yeah, credit to him for just coming out and doing his thing, because we needed him at the time. And I think they said, I think I read he had the most points for a kicker in a Super Bowl.
That's crazy. Yeah, he. I mean, look, I've been on here calling him in the hot seat. I certainly like. And that's it. Look, he was here for Super Bowl 52, right? He was here for Super Bowl 59. Thank you, Jake Elliott, for your service. Like, thank you for everything you've done for the Philadelphia Eagles. I wish you nothing but the best. You had a shit year, and I called you out on it. I'm not going to apologize for that, but I'm thankful for the Super Bowl performance you had, because you did a damn good job.
16. Yep, it's 16 points. In the Super Bowl.
And what was that over on kicking? 6.5?
6, yeah.
Crushed that. That's and for anyone wondering, no, I didn't hit any of my parlays. I was complete loss. Just all around loss. I'm glad I put some money on the over, because I at least got that back.
Which the Eagles almost covered themselves.
Which the Eagles basically covered themselves. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the garbage points, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it was 40-6 at one point. It was 40-48. So
Dude,
Eagles basically.
Can we talk about the nerve of putting in the backups with 3 minutes left in this game? It's the Super Bowl. There's nothing left to lose by having your starters in the game. Like, that was such a Sirianni move. And I bring this up just to talk about, like, Sirianni. I know we talked about him during the Gatorade talk, but man, Sirianni just had a hell of a game, hell of a season. And another person, I know I said about Jalen Hurts, but Sirianni solidified a contract for as long as he wants, in my mind. We've always supported Sirianni on this podcast, so like that's not really a surprise. But I mean, to go to 2 Super Bowls and win one, I don't know how you can't like Sirianni at this point. If anyone tries to, like, look, do I think the Eagles have the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl next year? Of course. Like, most of this team should be here. There's a couple of people that'll have to get re-signed. There's maybe some people walk. Like, things will change. Absolutely. But I think most of this potential is going to stay on the team. And I think they have another chance at another Super Bowl. I don't want to get too into that. But my whole point is, if we don't make the Super Bowl next year, I don't want to hear a single one of you sons of guns calling for Nick Sirianni's job. I don't know about you, Andrew, but he has solidified himself for years to come at this point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I love Sirianni. I'm all on board on. I mean, I've been on here defending him as well. I think it's going to be year by. I mean, it's tough to sit here and say, like, hey, I don't want to.
You say that? How you want to have the first? We haven't had an argument in months.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying. Again, he's for me. He's here to stay. But let's not act like we didn't fire a coach 2 years after he won this. Like, winning the Super Bowl doesn't solidify anything.
Yeah, but
like, just ask Doug Peterson.
Just ask Doug Peterson. Two things to say. First of all, if Doug Peterson came today and said, "I'll be your offensive coordinator," I'd sign him in a heartbeat. Second of all, Doug Peterson walking is one of the greatest mistakes I think the Eagles has ever made. Mind you, we went and got Nick Sirianni and won a Super Bowl, so at this point, who cares? But we chose Carson Wentz over Doug Peterson, and that completely fell through, which the Eagles
I don't
are
know if it's a
undefeated
mistake.
with
I
Wentz
mean,
on the bench.
look what he's done since the Eagles. But
But
um,
yeah, but look at the situation he was put in. He was put in Jacksonville, where the only thing going for him was the quarterback, who is pretty average at best. Like I just don't think
okay,
you can blame Jacksonville on him after how many years has he been there?
I was 3.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like see, Peterson came into the Eagles with a half decent situation. Obviously, it wasn't great after Chip, but like it wasn't the worst thing in the world player wise, and he completely turned it around. But I certainly like I don't know. I don't know how you could possibly say Sirianni does like if the Eagles go 1-out in the playoffs next year. We, there's no way you should be hunting down Nick Sirianni. There's
No,
no
and
way.
they won't be.
Something went
But
wrong, and he
they
needs
won't
to
be.
fix it.
My point is just like nobody's here. Like nobody's got a lifetime contract in the NFL. That's my point.
Mike Tomlin's been at
Like,
the Steelers for like 20 years.
yeah, but again, I'm talking about the Eagles. Like, but that's my only point. And you know, I'm here all for Nick Sirianni. I'm just saying, history shows like you can get let go, and after what if things go wrong. But again, I don't things won't go wrong, and he's my coach. Like I've said it on here plenty of times. I've been defending him and didn't want him gone, but the guy just knows how to go out and coach. I mean, he's a player's coach. The players love playing for him, and I think that's why. I'm not going to sit here and say everybody will, but that's why I think you are going to be able to bring some guys back on a team friendly deal because of the connections he creates, the relationships he's builds, and obviously Howie Roseman knows how to construct the contracts and we'll figure everything out. But um, all the players just continue to talk about all good things about him, and obviously, nothing phases Sirianni. I mean, he just goes out, finds a way to have fun with it. I mean, the day after the Super Bowl, he's wearing A.J. Brown's high school jersey at his press conference. I mean, what other coach is doing that in the NFL?
That's insane. That's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, we were watching that, and we're like, whose jersey is that? Like, who's like we were trying to figure it out, and then finally I found something on Twitter, and it said it was AJ
And like
Brown.
AJ Brown had a great game during the Super Bowl, but like out of all, I would expect him to come out and like because I saw someone actually had all the high school jerseys for the Eagles players. Like it was on.
Yeah, CJ Garner Johnson distributed. Yeah, that was funny. I was like, how did you get all that?
But that's what like I almost expect him to do that with the Barkley jersey or the Hurts jersey because Hurts Super Bowl MVP, Barkley season MVP, offensive player of the year.
See, I don't think it was that. I think it was a shot to the media and him trolling the media.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles winning the Super Bowl has just been an absolutely roller coaster of a ride afterwards. I don't know, Andrew, I don't know what your night was like after the game was over. I went home and I mean, I was outside. I cracked a victory beer. My champagne in case we won was I got a victory branded beer to have after the game because I felt like that was fitting. First of all, I'm pretty sure victory is Philly like based. But also just the fact that it's victory. And it was a victory. So I had a victory beer, I had a celebratory cigar. It was a good time. And I was up until like at least 2 o'clock, just reminiscing the game. I wasn't rewatching stuff Sunday night. I started rewatching clips yesterday on Monday, and I'm planning on rewatching the game in full probably tomorrow. But yeah, Andrew, was it like for you after the game?
Yeah, it was a lot of post game. Obviously, watch them celebrate, get the trophy on Fox, and then you turn on the Eagles on CBS, watch their post game and everything. So, yeah, it was a late night. I'm still I'm pretty exhausted still. But yeah, we were up probably till about 2 as well. And then got up early that morning and started rewatching. yeah, watching clips. Can't say I rewatched the whole game. I like um I don't know if you follow him on Twitter, but there's a guy. I think his last name is pronounced it's like Nick Pacone, something like that. I think it's Nick Pacone, but he goes and clips every like big play of Merrill Reese's calls, and
Okay.
we'll line up the video with Merrill Reese. So I went through his Twitter and was pretty much watching that just to hear how Merrill Reese called the game for the Eagles. So that's always a fun thing to go back and do. But yeah, shout out to him for always clipping those plays, and he'll do that for every Philly team. It's cool to get the radio side of it when you're on national media games.
I'll have to
So
check that out. I have not seen that.
yeah, I'll send it to you, and hopefully I said his last name right. But I yeah, so that's what I did, and then I drove. I went over to Nick's for a little bit and hung out there. We watched more stuff, and then I went back to mom and dad's and hung out. So it was a fun time to go home for a little bit and watch the game. And yeah, no, it was fun. And comparing it to the last one, like it's funny having the two different games. You know, you get the big fourth down or not fourth down, sorry, the final second stop on the Hail Mary to seal the win in an 8-point game, and then you have that blowout. So it's funny the two different types of games, two different emotions, you know, that first one to, you know, your second one and everything. So it did feel a little different in this one. Obviously, you know, having the lead the whole way and not really ever having any doubt from once the game, you know, took off. So it was cool and a good feeling to have. And, you know, your voice was definitely feeling it by the end of the game. That's for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to. It's a great transition by you, yo. But talking about how the comparison between Super Bowl 52 and Super Bowl 59, like how you felt afterwards, and it's pretty funny. I actually tweeted out about it right before the game. Not right before, but sometime on Sunday. So, first of all, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for watching. Follow on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, The Philly Gamer. And if you are not already, follow us on social media. So on Twitter, I'm the_Philly Gamer. But yeah, looking at someone asked on Twitter, what would Super Bowl number 2, meaning Super Bowl 59, if it was a win because it was before, what would it mean to you? And my summary was, in the past 20 years, the Eagles have been contenders, but they've always been pushed to the kids' table. Winning Super Bowl 52 was like yelling, "We're still here," and it was for the fans. But winning Super Bowl 59 would be demanding a seat at the table. And to me, it's a respect thing. Like, especially with the absolute blowout the Eagles gave to the Chiefs. Like, it is truly a. I mean, everyone's talking about how the Eagles could become a dynasty, and that's a crazy conversation to have. I mean, we have lived, especially in our adult lives, but in our lives, Andrew, we have seen the greatest generations of Eagles football. You know, our parents, our dad saw very mediocre Eagles football at the start of the NFL to until what is happening right now, right? Like a lot of that was low points. They talked about it on PHLY today or yesterday. I forget if it was today or yesterday, but like we have really seen a lot of success, but we just didn't see any Super Bowls. And Howie Roseman, credit to him, man, just absolutely taking what he needed to do to establish a team. And you talk about comparing 52 to 59. I mean, these teams are so different. They're so incredibly different. Literally, like roster wise. So the fact that he was able to turn it around and just do it again with a completely new set of players, it's crazy. And I think the Eagles franchise is building up a degree of respect that it just can't be ignored, is the best way to put it. There was someone on Twitter, there was a ESPN media person who I can't remember his name. I don't really care, but he apparently has just talked trash on Philadelphia, on the
Nick
Eagles all
Wright.
year. Who is it?
I don't even need to hear what you say. Nick Wright is my guess where you're
Yep,
going with
yep.
this.
And it was just the fact that like the Eagles shut that up and like shut it down with no words, with their actions. And actions speak louder than words. And they went out there, they not only had one of the best seasons possible, but they go out there and win in the most spectacular fashion on the national stage in the Super Bowl. It's just the Eagles are here to stay, man. I don't care what anyone says, and I think everyone's agreeing with me right now.
Yeah, and I think you hit it spot on there with comparing the two teams too. You know, last time you had a lot of older guys and you lost a lot, right? And how he had to I don't want to say rebuild the Super Bowl team, but it was tough to bring everybody back in that case. And you know, it was a lot of 1 year contracts and everything, like Chris Long, Jay Ajayi, like Eric Blunt. Like you weren't able to keep a lot of those guys, so it was kind of a 1 year thing, and you were hoping to continue that from that point on. Obviously, at that point with a young quarterback and everything, at that time was Carson Wentz. Where now you have everything back. Like again, obviously, you know, we talk about you have a few pieces there. You do obviously big pieces you need to bring back, and Zach Bond and Josh Sweat. Again, you didn't expect the year from Bond. He just took off on another level after that 1 year deal. So you do have to find some pieces, obviously, but that's on the defensive end. You look at the offense, guys are already under contract. You have Lane Johnson back. You have Jordan Malatai back. You have Jalen Hurts back. You have Saquon Barkley. You have Devontae Smith. You have A.J. Brown. You have Dallas Goedert. Like, you have the core of this team, right? The back. And again, obviously, you know, the few pieces, but even on defense, you're going to have Cooper DeJean back. You're going to have Quinyon Mitchell back. You're going to have Reed Blankenship back. You're going to have Jalen Carter back. You're going to have Jordan Davis back. You're going to have N'Kobe Dean. You're going to have Nolan Smith. Those guys are all under contract. This team isn't going anywhere. This team is shaped out to be the best here for years to come. And like you said, a potential dynasty. And that's just the difference in these two teams. And I think that's what makes this one. Well, yeah, the last one, you know, had that emotion of getting that first one. And like you said, getting put on the map with that first one, where this one, like, it's tough to use the word more exciting, but I want to use it just in the sense of, like,
Yeah.
this team is back. Like, this could be, as Doug Peterson said last time, this could be the new norm. Like,
Oh
because
no. Oh
in this
no.
case, everybody is back. Like this could be, and to that credit, and I don't know if you saw the picture I just sent in our group chat a little bit ago, but it's amazing the trade Howie Rose, like, to save this franchise, right? Was that Carson Wentz trade after that contract? And if you turn all the picks that he got in the Carson Wentz deal, this is what that trade came out to be: Carson Wentz for Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Jalen Carter, and Cooper DeJean. Like
That's
that's
insane.
just
That's
incredible. Like
insane. That's
like
not real.
you know, you make that trade, you hope to hit on what, three or at least two, if not three of those, and you aced all four of those. Like, what you were able to do with that trade, four guys, and again, four young guys. Like, think about that. AJ Brown's the oldest guy in that group, and he's what, still just in his high 20s. Like,
I mean, can we
if
just
that, like,
establish the fact three of those four players scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl this year? Like,
yeah, exactly.
like
And the fourth was a defensive lineman who still had his press. Yeah, AJ Brown's the oldest one at 27. I didn't realize AJ Brown's my age. That's kind of scary.
and they all still have more yards than Carson Wentz in the Super Bowl.
Like, so yeah, so that I mean, that's that trade essentially. Like, think about it, that could have either went really downhill and cost you the future, but he aced it and it saved the future of this team.
Well, I think that's the perfect place to leave off for this episode, Andrew. Unless you have any other things you want to get off your chest.
No, I think everything. I mean, no, it couldn't be more exciting. I mean, just like you said, giddy is a good word. Like, and you're still riding the emotions. You're still smiling about it, and it's fun. And
Yeah, it's a good time, and I can't wait. So I am thankful enough I will be able to go to the Super Bowl parade in Philadelphia this Friday. I wasn't able to go to the parade after Super Bowl 52, so I'm pretty excited to get to celebrate this one. I am gonna try to take some recordings to see if I can throw in our next episode. We'll see. We'll see if that
that'd be
works
fun.
out. That would be neat. But next episode will definitely be a bunch of parade talk, and we'll do another Super Bowl episode next week as well. I'm hoping to get 2 episodes out. Not sure which days, but definitely next week 2 episodes. So thank you everyone for listening to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. You can find us on Spotify and YouTube. Please follow and subscribe. Give us a 5-star review on Spotify, and I will be sure to thank you on social media. So thank you everyone once again for listening. As always, go Birds, baby!